Hello and welcome to another episode of Early to Rise Radio. My name is Galel Fajardo. I'm blessed to be one of the coaches here at Early to Rise, and I am with Mr. Craig Ballantyne, and I get to turn the tables on old Mr. CB and ask you some questions today. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, question for you. First thing, lately, one of the things you've been talking about in some of our trainings has been living like a billionaire in order to live like a millionaire, right? In order to be a millionaire, you got to live like a billionaire.
Exactly.
So how does a farm boy from, is it Stratford? Stratford, my apologies to you and Justin Bieber, go from being a farm boy to thinking about living like a billionaire? What changed for you in order to start thinking that way?
Well, I think another way to look at this is what is it costing you to keep middle class habits?
Okay.
So at our last mastermind, in California, we had a lot of people who came from all over the world.
Yes.
We had one guy who came from Australia.
Yes.
Now, he paid $3,000 to attend the event.
Yep.
Because it's really high-end entrepreneurs. He flew economy from Australia.
Yes.
So think about that. That is a middle-class habit. Mm-hmm. To spend all that money. He made this huge investment to go to this event, and it's not like he came in a week before and recovered. No, he came in like the day before, flew all the way from Australia, sitting in economy for a 12-hour flight. And it's a horrible experience because I've done it when I was younger. I went to Australia in economy. And, so no sleep. So the first day you completely lose. So he lost the first day of the mastermind. Basically, you lose it. If it's a 3-day event, you lose $1,000 because you didn't spend the extra couple of grand to do the business class flight. And he was tired all the time. He was on a crazy, jet lag schedule. And did he get the maximum out of the event? No, because he didn't invest fully in himself. What would a billionaire do? A billionaire, if they didn't fly private, of course they would fly in business or first class, be able to sleep, maybe get there a little bit early, be able to acclimatize to it, and then get the most out of the investment that they made. And so what is it costing you to do stuff like that? To fly economy, to eat crap, to sleep on a bad mattress and lose an hour a day of productivity because you had a bad sleep, because in your room you don't have the temperature appropriate, you don't have blackout blinds, you don't use an eye mask, you don't use earplugs, you don't have everything set up, and you aren't sleeping on the best mattress you can possibly buy, which only costs $2,000.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing all of those things and you're losing an hour a day of productivity and your hourly worth is $100 an hour, that's $12,000 minimum in a year, maybe even more, that you are wasting in lost productivity because you're too cheap to go and buy a $2,000 mattress.
Yeah.
And so that's the type of stuff. It's death by 1,000 cuts in the middle class habit. So first of all, we think that way and figure out what's it costing me to continue to be like that. And then switch and okay, if I was going to be a billionaire, what would I change in my life? Well, I'd buy that best mattress I could possibly do. Well, it's $2,000, man. You don't need to be a billionaire to buy it. And this is from Forbes magazine. They did a survey of all the mattresses, and it's $2,000. And you go to another website and see which was the best mattress on theirs. It was also $2,000. Mm-hmm. It's $2,000 for the best mattress, and you're not paying it because you're living middle class. But a billionaire can't have a better mattress than almost all of us can have. And it's the same sort of thing with so many things in our life, from food, sleep, delegation, assistance, all that sort of stuff. It doesn't cost you millions of dollars to buy back your time and be able to then go and make more money and have more quality time with your family. So it's two ways of thinking. It's more funner to think about the billionaire, because you just have so many regrets and you're so ashamed and embarrassed, oh my God, I can't believe I've been living with these middle class habits.
Yeah.
If you think about it that way. So doing this exercise of what would you do if you were a billionaire, and we did this on our training recently, and one of our clients who makes millions of dollars per year said, instead of just having a tutor 2 of the 4 days per week for my son's algebra, super hard math. It's not like she's an expert in it.
No.
She has a tutor 2 days of the week for it, and she spends 2 to 4 hours learning the algebra so that she can tutor him the other 2 days. And she goes, you know what, I do it all 4 days. I'm like, you don't. You have the money to do this. And so why? She is middle class when she grew up. She grew up with nothing. And when you grow up with nothing, you have these weird mental hangups that stop you from investing to get back your life.
Okay, so we're going to go into some of the specifics, but I've got to ask like more of a personal question. Okay, it leads to like what where we started with was, how did you change that thinking from being a farm boy? Like what books did you read? A book? Who influenced you?
I'm just lazy. and I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It's a good joke, but it is. I'm like super lazy, and I don't want, like, I've never made my bed. So that guy, that admiral who has this whole shtick about you got to make your bed. No, you don't. I don't know any rich person who makes a bed. Like what am I going to do? Tell my wife to get up? And I got to make the bed if I want to be successful today. I know that you're not going to get up for 3 more hours, but you got to get out of bed so I can make the bed, because I can't be. That's such schlock, right? And so, anyways, but even if my wife was not in bed, I wouldn't make it anyways. And I don't want to clean the house, and I don't want to cut the lawn. I've cut the lawn enough in my lifetime. I don't want to do anything but the stuff that I like to do. So I'm very lazy, and then that just naturally led me to figuring this stuff out earlier. So if you can't think like a billionaire, think like a lazy person, and then free up the time so that you're able to do only what you want. So for me, it was just naturally ingrained. So there isn't a book, but for everybody watching, it's this interview. It's the trainings that we do that will give you the advice, the know-how, the tools, the resources to go and live like a billionaire on pennies on the dollar. Because again, it doesn't cost you a lot of money. Like, oh, this billionaire, he's got a personal driver. Yeah, you've got Uber, right? Like another thing, another middle-class habit is people sitting in traffic, driving to appointments and sitting in city traffic or highway traffic or whatever. No, you should not be driving around to anything, because you should be in the backseat of an Uber working. Just like Bloomberg in New York, when he's like the billionaire driving around New York, like he's in the backseat. It might be a nicer car, but even you can get like Uber Black, and you can, again, a billionaire is not going to have a better Suburban than you're going to be able to get on Uber.
Yeah.
Maybe they have one of those Sprinter vans that people are starting to deck out. But still, most of the guys are riding around in Suburban.
So let's get into like the real money stuff. Okay. So one of the things you and I are very fortunate to do at Early to Rise, we get to work with private coaching clients and help them transform their business so they can make more money and work less, right? Spend more time with their family, do the things they love to do. What are some of the mistakes? You touched on one, like with the algebra example, but what are some other ways that you have seen clients incorporate being able to buy back their time?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's everything that a virtual assistant can do.
Yeah.
And a virtual assistant you can get for a few bucks an hour. So I have a friend, a guy named Laith, who runs a company called assistantly.com. And he will find you a virtual assistant to answer your email, do your customer service, all types of things. But he can also find assistants at really high level. I have a client on Long Island who runs a big construction company, like millions and millions of dollars. And he needed an estimator for projects. But he said the estimator could actually be virtual for a lot of the things. And so Laith found my friend AJ, an assistant in the Philippines, who had all the certifications that were needed for a construction company in Long Island for pennies on the dollar. And it's really, truly amazing. So anything virtual assistant related or small tech tasks related. I had a client who was making $12 million a year running a series of weight loss clinics. And she was updating her website. And actually, let me clarify something. Her personal income was $12 million per year.
Oh, geez.
And she was updating her own website. And on a coaching call, her daughter walked in and said, I want to go for a bike ride. And she said, I'm too busy to go for a bike ride. So think of that. You make $12 million a year, and you don't have time to go for a bike ride with your daughter because you're updating your website. Something does not compute there, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody watching this will go, I'd never do that. But you give me your schedule, you give me what you want to be doing, and I'll go through that and I'll find something where it just, it's just in misalignment. It doesn't make rational sense. And for whatever reason that you hold on to that activity, that maybe you don't trust the web design person, you don't trust your ability as a leader, you don't know how, you don't know where to go, And you don't have to go and, she probably thought, oh, I've got to go and pay $100 an hour to a web designer because she got ripped off on web design in the past. No, you can go to assistantly.com, you can go to Upwork, you can go to Fiverr, you can go to the local college and find somebody for very small amounts of money to do these things. And so video editing is another one, especially in this day and age of social media content. So many people will say, well, it's like, what's the best app to edit my Instagram video? I'm like, you make a couple $100,000 a year. What do you mean? What's the best app? There is no, the app is called Other People.
Other People.
That's my favorite app.
Yes.
Other People. And then someone's going to comment below, where do I find other people on the, what's the iTunes? Is it iTunes where you buy apps?
The App Store.
The App Store.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not an actual app. It's actually other people.
Yes.
So, video editing, tech stuff, even setting up your own text station at home should not be done by you. There's a very cool website called TaskRabbit.
Yes.
And it's almost in every major city.
Yeah.
I was checking it out. It's definitely in Charleston for Daniel Woodrum, who's a coach on our team. I was looking at Anchorage, Alaska, and there is, because I have a client in Anchorage, there is no TaskRabbit in Anchorage, but there was a Reddit thread about how you just go to Craigslist and go to the gigs section and say, I need somebody to come and do XYZ ABC, and someone will raise their hand. And I don't understand TaskRabbit because the amount of money that you'll pay somebody to do a task will seem very, very low to you. And you will be like, how do these people survive? Like, you're getting $25 an hour work in a major city. And again, that just doesn't compute as to how they're able to do it. But they're nice people and they'll do it. And you're like, well, I don't want a stranger in my house. But I mean, 40 years ago, everybody let a handyman in their house. And they were a strange person too. So TaskRabbit, you can get somebody to come over. And they have like categories. They have like a ceiling fan category. I guess that's a real popular thing to get TaskRabbit to do. But you can get somebody to come over, set up your new MacBook thingamajigger and the screen and connect all the wires and make it look good. And you don't have to know that. You shouldn't know how to do that. It's not your job. Get lazier.
Yes. In fact, Upwork is another one. I think you mentioned that one too. It's like people go, well, how do I find a great executive assistant? I found my last 3 executive assistants all on Upwork. And what's great about them is Upwork allows you to be able to audit their time. And then it takes screenshots of their computer. And what basically the arrangement I make with them is say, listen, after a certain period of time, I'll buy out their contract on Upwork and then hire them directly. And they make instantly 20% more money. So they're happy to do that.
Yeah. And one other thing with Upwork is that people think, oh, you can only get virtual assistants there, which is not true, because you can actually find people to do CFO work in America. They're American-based people for $35 an hour. So if you think, oh man, I need some real financial help, but it's going to cost me $150,000 to hire a CFO or something, you can go and you can find somebody who lives in Kansas who's a CFO and does CFO fractional work for $35 an hour. $35 an hour, which is good money to that person who lives in wherever they live. And the other thing with Upwork is it's like, what do you do when you want to go to a restaurant? You go to Yelp and you look at the reviews. And it's the same with Upwork. They have all the reviews, it's like 4.7 stars, 500 jobs. That's the type of person you would hire. And all of that stuff is there so that it's a really great system for finding people to do almost anything. So in this day and age of the gig economy, you don't have to shell out a ton of money. You don't have to be a millionaire to be able to get a great amount of time back into your life from a very small investment. For in-person stuff, for virtual stuff, for financial stuff, for all types of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. What are a couple other areas that you see clients waste their time in that they should just, we've talked about video editing, social media content. We've talked about, the tutor if you're homeschooling, talked about driving and having an Uber.
Well, just on the tutor stuff, when I was living in Mexico and I wanted to learn Spanish, I found this website called Preply.com. And Preply is virtual tutors for almost anything. And I paid $9 an hour. So this is a worldwide system. So you're going to get people who want to teach you math from maybe the Philippines who will probably charge you $10 an hour, which is great money in the Philippines, US dollars, and they'll teach you math at a very high level. So it's leveraging the global economy to get information and instruction at a very low cost. So there's no reason why anybody can't get educated at a high level who's earning American dollars in America. You can go and be able to use these things. So that Preply.com is another great service in there. And so you were going like, okay, what else? What else is there? And a lot of it is going to be home chores, right? So home chores such as mowing your lawn, removal of snow, repairs around your house, cleaning in your house, and then even meal prep. And so all the cleaning stuff is very simple. You can go to your network of people, like you just post on Facebook. If you got 500 friends on Facebook and you say, hey, listen, I'm looking for a cleaner, come to my house once a week or twice per week, or what'd you suggest, like twice a month?
Twice a month has revolutionized mine and my wife's marriage. Twice a month, I'm telling you.
So we have somebody come in once a week, and even that seems like a lot, but even just once a week in a major city is going to cost you like $200, but still, even if that saves you 5 hours of your time, you can use that for family time, or you can put that back into your business, and you should be able to go and make more than $40 an hour in your business. So you got to do that. You got to make that investment so that you free up more time, so that you raise your hourly worth. And then one that was probably really controversial is I said, you can go and get a private chef in almost any major city for about $500 a week, including the grocery spend. And a lot of people didn't believe that. But again, if you go to Craigslist and you go to that gig section and you say, hey, I will pay for groceries. I want you to come to my house and cook all my food for the week or for 4 days and meal prep for me. You don't need a professional chef to do this. And you can sit there on your laptop in the kitchen and watch them cook for you if you want, so that you just make sure that everything's according to your standards. But you're going to be able to find somebody who's willing to do that, even in major cities. And then on the childcare side, we live in Vancouver, which is one of the most expensive cities in North America. And we found a full-time nanny for $20 an hour.
Amazing.
Now, she was an international student and she spoke Spanish. So we wanted a Spanish-speaking nanny for our children. She was $20 an hour. She was an international student from Mexico. And so they were able to continue their Spanish when we moved out of Mexico. So everybody's going to be sitting there and thinking, it's too expensive. You're not going to find that. I live in Vancouver. Everything's expensive in Vancouver. And we can find stuff at that level. Everything that I'm telling you to do, we can, for the in-person stuff, we can find it at that level.
Yep. I can attest to that.
I would say that the house cleaner is the most expensive thing of all the, like for a couple hours, we either get, the services either provide 2 or 3 people and it's like $300 for 2 or 3 hours and they do like a blitz clean of the house, or it's one person for a longer period of time and it's still, it seems expensive to me, but that's the most pricey of all the things that we've had to, like even the lawn care guy was so cheap.
Oh gosh, yeah. I have a lawn care guy that shows up every week in Orange County, California, which is not inexpensive, and it's $110 a month. And he comes 4 times a week with a crew of 3 guys.
That's insane.
$110 a month. And the kids have to make sure the stuff is picked up in the backyard. And then we let him in and he does his thing. I mean, I'm telling you, our house cleaner, it's $130 each time. So 2 times a month.
That's a good deal.
Best $260 I spend a month, and we give her a great bonus at the end of the year, you know, as a thank you. And she's one woman who's there from about 9 a.m. till about 2 p.m. Does a deep clean, and it's the best money that we spend.
So all of these things, you clearly do not need to be a billionaire to do.
No.
And in fact, the problem with being a billionaire and having like full-time staff is that you eventually just get tired of all these people being in your house. So you just want to be alone.
Yeah.
And so the billionaire has more problems. Like, oh, I got 17 staff in the house. Like, you think of like, I don't know why Obama popped into my head, but Obama in his Cape Cod mansion just running and trying to find a room in his house where there's no staff, or so that he can actually just hang out by himself and watch basketball or something.
I know somebody who works for a billionaire in Orange County, and she was commenting to me that they have staff all the time around their house, that they bought the house next to them just for the family so that the staff could stay out of their way. So it is a problem. We're not there yet, but give us some time and we'll be in that position.
And so it is true. It's like you want these people. It's great. They come in, they do their thing, they leave, and the billionaire has more problems because they have to have all those folks. But again, you don't even have to be a millionaire, right? And you don't have to do all of the things. But if you're working 50 hours a week, and then you're doing another 10 hours of domestic work, you probably got 10 to 15 hours in your 50-hour week that you can get back, simple investment. And then from those 10 hours that you're doing extra chores and stuff, which stop you from either hanging out with your kids or going to one of their sporting events or having a weekly date night, being consistent with your own workouts, like that's a middle class habit. You're doing all this extra work and you don't have time for your health and your nutrition. Man, what are you doing all this for, right? So we need to do a time audit. And so Coach Daniel and I, we help people with a time journal. We identify, you just want to find the areas of quickest leverage. What's the low hanging fruit? What's the thing that's taking your most time that is the cheapest to delegate, let alone, we haven't even talked about eliminating stuff. There's a lot of stuff you should eliminate from your calendar that nobody should do in the first place. But what is the cheapest, most volume task that you can get rid of? And just when you do that, it will just free up your mind because you're going to be able to have more time to do the stuff that's going to make you big money.
Yep. And to give you a personal example, Craig, I came to Early to Rise having bought your books, bought your program, was a coaching client. Our first coaching call, I still remember being on a coaching call and we identified I was spending 11 hours a week scheduling my social media posts for myself and other clients because I was doing marketing consulting. And so I hired a virtual assistant, and that first week I saved 11 hours a week, just like that, by hiring one person at $10 an hour.
Yeah, we have, it's like our greatest transformation in terms of time, and obviously this is self-reported, is we had this online fitness coach from Puerto Rico named Omar came to us working an 80-hour week. And in 7 days, he was down to 35 hours per week.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's it. Like, we got him 55 hours a week in free time. It's insane. Whether it's 11 hours or 55, that's a significant amount of time. 11 hours is insane because you can do a lot of damage in 11 hours, personally, professionally, fitness-wise. All sorts of things.
No, this has been great stuff, Craig. We could talk about this for ages. What should people do if they are inspired to want to learn more? They're like, okay, you got me here. Like, I want to learn more about this stuff. How can I work with your team to be able to do this in my business and in my life and get some of that expert advice? What should they do?
Well, I don't know. What should they do? What do you want?
Here's what I think they should do. You should fill out a coaching application.
That's a good idea.
Right? Fill out a coaching application. Go to craigballantyne.com/apply. Fill out a coaching application. See if you qualify to work with one of us so we can start doing this in your business, help you get back your time and make more money at the same time. I think that would help them tremendously.
I just saved 2 minutes of my life by not having to say that. I got him to say that. But he's right. We can help you. I've always said that if you gave me a day with Tony Robbins, I could find an extra hour a day for that guy because this is just our genius. And so we're going to be able to help you get more time, which then we will then show you how to use that newfound time to make more money. And then we just go through that cycle over and over and over again till we get down and there's nothing more to cut and you're making a maximum money and you're living the life of your dreams. So craigballantyne.com/apply. And we look forward to working with you and giving you back your life.
Awesome. Craig, thank you again. As always, great to hang out with you here in South Beach, Miami at our Mastermind event. We hope to see you at a future event, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you again next week.